it's easy and almost justifiable to want to blame, to want to be angry, to want to even think that they don't belong to be in the place they are. You know, it's easy to think, I wish they thought like me. You know, it's easy to think when you are on the watching end, say if it's in an arena or in a sports ground, to think, I wish they played better. You know, I wish he kicked the ball better, or I wish him or she maneuvered better, and so on. It's almost, you know, almost just easy to even sometimes verbalize that when we are feeling like they are not doing a good job, they are probably, you know, not qualified, they are probably not even justified, you know, to be in this place or in this space they are, and therefore maybe you would do a good job if you had the chance, you know, or you just wish they put in more effort and so on. But I just wonder how often we get to take a moment and ask ourselves this question: what if I was in their shoes? Hello everybody, and welcome to Naomi's All-Inclusive World, where today I would love us to take a moment and just kind of flip the coin and place ourselves in the places and in the spaces we have been quick to want to disqualify, you know, the people who are there, whether really we mean it or we're feeling like, you know, they don't qualify to be there, and just place ourselves in their shoes, in their place, and see if we would ask the same question. So today, guys, it's about what if. You know, what if I was that woman who held on to that marriage until she died because she didn't want to leave her kids alone in that abusive space? What if you actually were the father who probably was struggling with substance, or who was struggling with your own rough upbringing, and therefore you ended up just being a replica of your father, who is also abusive to their kids, to people who come in their lives and in their network and so on? What if you were that person? What if you were that kid, that girl who got pregnant at 14? Or what if you were the mother of that child who got pregnant at 14? What if you were the parent of that child who was molested? What if you were a parent, a sibling, a family member of that child who happens to be living with a disability? What if you were part of the body, the board, the you know, the committee, whoever, in the political and just in the government space that makes decisions, some of which affect people who live with disabilities? What if you were that driver who accidentally, whether or not he or she was under influence of something, that ended up actually causing a disability? Just what if? Would you still treat people the same if you were in their shoes? Would you still be judgmental? Would you still be quick to be verbal about just how much they're wasting your time? Would you still want to sit next to them, and would you still want people to sit next to you? You know, the way we even just don't want some people to sit next to us because maybe they don't smell too good, because maybe they cannot afford a roll-on, you know, they cannot afford a perfume like you do, maybe just because they don't have a luxury of having mouth fresheners like you do. What if you were that person? Would you still treat them the same way you're treating them? And would you appreciate being treated the way you are treating them? Let's bring it really home. What if you actually were the one being given the news from the hospital or wherever that now you cannot walk, that now you have to learn on how to use an assistive device? What if you were in that person's shoes? And in this case, what if you were that person? Would you still have the same perspective towards life? Would you still expect the world to be as happy as it is now? Just what if you were in the shoes of the people going through the different phases of life, and especially those going through changes that are related to disability? Acquiring a disability and now having to learn to live with it, now having to learn to probably now, use an assistive device, or now having to learn to be helped a lot in maneuvering around, in maybe, doing the most basic of things that you've been doing on your own, like, eating, freshening up, grooming, just moving around and so on. What if you were in this person's shoes? What if it so happened to now, in this case, be you who has to learn this new space? Would you still treat people the same way you are doing right now? Would you still appreciate to be treated the way you are treating people right now? Guys, do we even take a moment to ask ourselves this question? It's a very big and loaded question. What if I was in their shoes? Life is really happening, and it's happening so fast that sometimes we take a moment to think of what we said maybe hours later, minutes later, days later even, and usually by then maybe say the damage has been done, the bruising has already happened, the hurt, has already happened. You've already hurt that person by saying what you've said and so on. And sometimes there's no chance to go back and say, oh, I'm sorry, or like we say, and I wonder if we all mean it. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I think if you say it really, and you meant it. I don't know, that's my opinion. Because if you didn't mean it, then please don't verbalize it. We speak from our hearts, right? So that's just one of the examples. And can you imagine now, by that time, you've already gone, the damage is done, the harm is done, and so on. And then now imagine now if it was you in that place, in that space, being said, being told these hurtful things, and the people go and life goes on. What if you were the one on the receiving end? Sometimes it's very easy to think as the victim, to think as just the person on the receiving end. But you know what? Sometimes we have to take time to also think from the point of the offender. And sometimes these offenses we cause are intentional or otherwise. Nilikuwa nasema tu, sikumaanisha hivyo. Ama sometimes the non-verbal communication we pass across, the making of faces, they're just looking like goodness, sometimes even the moving of location. Because I've seen someone come sit next to me and I'm thinking, no, I am not going to have this company for the next 40 minutes of this meeting or 1 hour. You move, and sometimes we move while murmuring, some things and so on. What if you were the person being left there? What if you were in their shoes? What if you were on the receiving end? Ingekuwa vipi? Yeah, I really hope we can get a chance to ask ourselves this question this year. What if you were in their shoes? Will you judge less? Would you love more? Would you listen more? Would you be more empathetic? Would you actually visit them more? Would you spend more time with them, maybe more than you've been doing before, if you were in their shoes? And would you expect these things done to you, as well? What if you were in the shoes of that person you think is not good enough? What if you were in the shoes of that person who hurt you so bad, you're thinking, you know what? Nah, there's no way I would even fathom the thought of forgiving them. Like, here is one burden I'm willing to take with me to the grave. But what if you were in their shoes? Now, one of the guys who really speaks so much hope and just challenges me in his motivational, pitches here and there, and just also with his life, and so much so that especially because his story has been one that is very relatable to most of us, where it was just easy to give up. It was easy to just be like every other person on the block or in the neighborhood, and the force that was against was kind of heavier than the force that was for you, but somehow he still fought. And right now is one person I would sit down and listen to, him just cheer me on and speak life and speak future and speak hope and speak, that, you can do it again and again, over and again, over and over and over. It's Tyler Perry. And especially one of the stories that just jazzes me about the many of which he talks about is the story about his dad, and how it has been a journey for him to learn to gradually forgive his dad, to learn to gradually love his dad, and loving him and forgiving him here is not to lessen the abuse, the offenses he caused him when he was growing up. No, but it's to say, you know what? I'm not forgetting the fact that he also had a childhood, one of which I could probably know 20% of, and from what he says, his father's childhood was not any different, was not any smooth. So from who was he supposed to get the note so that he would be a better father to Tyler Perry? You get what I mean? So he just fathered him the best way he knew, which was really terrible, and so on. And also, just one of the other things that I remember just listening in one of Tyler Perry's talks. It's just like, you know what? I have learned to forgive him gradually. I have learned to intentionally tell myself, you know what? First of all, he is a human being with all these faults, just like I am. And number two, he never had a manual, like I said earlier on. He never had a guide where he would look at and get some notes and hints on how to be a father. He had to figure that out on his own. And that's why he had all those failures, and so on. And it's just, he says, that's one of the things those are some of the thoughts that have helped me be quick to say, you know what? He hurt me, he offended me, he put me down with his words. He cheered me into failure more than even the outer world. But you know what? What if I was in his shoes? I just wonder if I would have done any better. Maybe yes, maybe no. So guys, in this 2023, I mean, the year is still as young as it is. A few days to calling the first month already over. But ladies and gentlemen, let's try and be intentional, like I keep saying. Be intentional in these things. Let's try and really walk with this at the back of our minds, to be quick to ask ourselves these questions, and you realize you will slow down on wanting to judge. You will slow down on wanting to give that person a piece of your mind. You'll be slow in wanting to walk out. You know, you'll be slow in wanting to close your heart, to wanting to love this person again, to wanting to try and give this person another chance, to give this parent another chance, to give this, guardian, this whoever, another chance. And try by just asking yourself, what if I was in their shoes? It doesn't lessen what they have done. It doesn't lessen the harm, the offense, the gravity of the abuse, if it's so. But it helps you look at it and maybe even just approach them from a point of love and compassion. What if I was in their shoes? I hope this helps somebody somewhere. Definitely has helped me. Just sitting down and thinking through lots of just times and opportunities in life that I'm thinking the world hasn't been very fair. And the world here is not the air really, is the neighbor, is the teacher, is that uncle, is that auntie, is the parent, is the siblings, and so on. Just think, what if I was in their shoes? I wonder if I would still have said what they said, if I would have still walked out, like they did, or if I would have still just abandoned them like they did me, or they did my dream and my aspiration and so on. Because sometimes we don't necessarily have people walk on us physically. Some people walk out on us emotionally, just materially, when people who need to be there and give you a boost, whatever boost it is, whether it's presence, just being there, whether it's with financially, whether it's idea wise, and so on. We have people who just abandon you in those senses, so you just you could really use their ideas, you could really use them jogging your mind, you could really use their support by just being there, or financially, or whatever other types of means or material or substance and so on, and they just walk out. That is still abandonment. And you know what if you were in that person's shoes? Would you still abandon me like they did? Would you still cheer me on and cheer me on either positively or otherwise? Would you still want to give me a chance or not? Let me know what you think. What if you were that mother who had to do what she had to do to feed her kids? What if you were in her shoes? Would you still judge every woman who has to do what she has to do to feed her kids? The way we are quick to label people. Huyo ni malaya, tunajua umalaya ndio inamlipia rent. Huyo ni mwizi, tunajua huyo anagondi watu, hivyo ndio ana survive. And maybe you have evidence or you don't. And so on. What if you were in their shoes? Would you love more or less? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for your time. I'll see you in my next episode, where we will be talking about maybe something else. What if not? I don't know. There's a lot to talk about on this platform. So I'll see you in my next episode, and in the meantime, do not forget to throw me your what if, and also just like and share this. And thank you so much for my returning subscribers. Let's keep doing this. And for you who is my first timer, asante sana. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and put on your notification bell before you go, so that when I throw in my next episode, you'll be the first person to see that. So asante sana, and bye for now.